Hello, everyone. This is Aditya Mehta, and you are listening to podcast on personality development. Today's job market is tough, and in today's competitive world, it is more difficult to find the ideal career path. And even if you do that, you still have to make sure that you are saving money in the influential world we live in. In today's episode, we do have one such person who has done it all. And now she is guiding people on how can they do it by being an author of Amazon bestsellers, 5-Day Job Search book, and 1001 Ways to Save Money. And by being the host of a YouTube channel having millions of views. But hey, before getting started with today's show, let me tell you that Personality Development Podcast is going to arrange a live guided meditation session just for the community members. So, hey, you are a part of the family now, being a listener. So, why don't you join the community as well? Link is mentioned in the description. So, you are just a click away to join the community. So, yes, intro music is going to play. All you have to do is click on the link, and till the time that intro music plays, I'll get the guest of today's episode. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to today's episode. In this episode, we have an author, coach, and the host of a YouTube channel whose vision is to educate the people about the career path, financial planning, and personal branding. And today, she's here to share her story and her mindset on how did she do it. So please allow me to welcome Annie Margarita Yang. Hello, Annie. How are you doing? It's so great to see you.
Eddie, I'm feeling so wonderful. You did such a wonderful introduction of me. I just want to say I'm so excited to be here today to share with your audience secrets to having a 5-day job search. And before we continue with this, though, I want to let everyone know they have to listen till the very end because there's going to be a special offer on how to get 10% off a signed paperback copy of the 5-day job search. So stick around.
Wow, that's a wonderful thing to say, Annie. I really appreciate that. This wasn't planned, audience, but the guest of this show is are really generous. So make sure to listen it to the end. Annie, thank you so much for doing that. Before starting today's show, however, Annie, I know like I have given a good introduction of yours, but I feel it was a short and crisp introduction. But I would definitely love if you can give your brief introduction. So that would be just amazing.
Absolutely. I am someone who was born in the United States to Chinese working class immigrants. We didn't have a lot of money growing up, and but my parents, very frugal, still managed to provide for us. So we never went without food or shelter. When I was 16, despite being a straight A student my entire life, I thought about what I wanted to do for my future and my career. And I realized I didn't know what I wanted to do. Maybe there's something out there not related to academics. So I decided I'm not going to go straight to college. So after high school, I worked a whole string of minimum wage jobs. And then through some misfortunate events, I did eventually go to college. I graduated with a degree in communications. But even after getting that degree, I worked at Domino's Pizza making $8 an hour. So getting a degree doesn't always necessarily mean you will easily find a job afterward. But then later on, I moved to Boston from Texas, and I decided, you know what? I'm really good at managing my personal finances. That's what I do for my marriage. I'm the CFO of the household here. And maybe I can give my shot at getting an accounting job without any accounting degree. So I applied to 50 jobs a day. And within a week, I got a job offer for an accounting position. I have successfully landed 3 accounting jobs with no accounting degree on 3 separate searches. And that first time was only 1 week. Second time was 6 days. Third time was 5 days. So that is where the title, The 5-Day Job Search, comes into play.
Wow, that's an amazing story, and I love when you said that CFO of the household. I believe all the women out there are the best CFOs of the household. I'm pretty sure about it, especially in India. I mean, I haven't been in other country, but in India, like women are the best CFOs, and I really loved it when you said it. So that's pretty amazing, and you told me about this master degree program as well, and then you eventually had to work at pizza place, and then the entire when you shifted to Boston, and then the entire thing went upside down, and you created sorry, downside up, and then you
Mhm.
created a great you became an author of the book as well, which is 5-day job search. So, first thing which I really want to ask, because during these phases of, life, people tend to lose hope as well. People start doubting themselves as well. I mean, I have seen so many people that way, like when they complete their master degree and then they are not getting jobs, uh, they eventually lose hope, and then there is self-doubt as well. Am I good enough? Am I not good enough? Do I have to do something else? What should I do? Etc. etc. And all these, questions brings a lot of anxiety as well. So, the very first thing which I would like to ask you, what was your mindset during that phase of life when you were doing a job at a pizza place? And what, and if, let's say, it was a mindset of losing hope, then how did you change that?
Oh, yeah. When I moved, I'm actually originally from New York City. And when I worked at Domino's Pizza, that was in the middle of nowhere, Texas. Like, that is 4 hours from the closest large city, Dallas. And when I moved there because my husband was going to school there. And I said, we're married now. Even if there's no opportunity for me here, I will move here. I want to be with you. Right? I will make it work. I'm from New York, and the kind of attitude we have from New York is, if I can make it in New York, I can make it anywhere.
Wow.
I came in with that kind of attitude, but I very quickly lost that attitude because when I moved there, I realized I don't even know how to get around, because everywhere in New York, you can get around by walking, by taking a bus or train. Where I moved to in Texas, if you don't have a car, you can't go anywhere because the closest grocery store is a mile. You got to cross a highway, like,
Yeah.
so, and every job listing I looked at said, you must have a car and you must know how to drive. And I didn't know how to drive. I was freaking out because, like, I saw 16-year-olds were driving cars with confidence. And I was there, like, 23 years old, being a scaredy cat, thinking that if I get in the car, I'm gonna die. you know,
Wow.
um, yeah. So I very quickly lost my confidence in my ability to land a job, and then I ended up having to work at Domino's Pizza simply because it was a 10-minute walk away from my apartment.
Oh.
So yeah, I I was angry. I was upset. But I remember the first week after working there, being so tired because I had to be on my feet all day. I complained to my Indian friend, actually, and her dad was visiting,
Uh-huh.
and her dad was listening to me complain. And then he went, Annie, we all have a quota in life. You have to meet your quota. So it's like everyone has to work, but if you don't want to work now and you just want to laze around and be at home, then you have to work closer to your retirement years trying to make up for it, because you have to
Wow.
earn money, right? So if you work those hours now, if you hustle now, you get to play later. And then, so I really took his advice to heart. I was like, you know what? I'm not going to complain about working at Domino's. I'm going to work here, and then I'm going to land another job. And then
Wow.
if the other job pays me more, I'll get more hours there and less hours at Domino's. And then I kept landing more jobs throughout my 1 year there. I ended up working 5 jobs by the time I finished. Yeah, with
Wow.
each job making a little bit more, and then when the ones that paid me more, I asked them to give me more hours, and then I decreased the Domino's hours, which paid me the least, to only like Saturdays and Sundays, which was their
Wow.
busiest days, to make sure I
Oh,
got those hours on the weekend. Yeah.
wow. That's pretty amazing. Doing five jobs is something. And I
Yeah.
can completely relate with it as well because I have been there and I know how difficult it is. And when you said about driving, honestly, I am 30 and I still don't know how to drive because in Mumbai we don't need to drive. Okay, it's fine. And if we know how to drive, then it's I guess the biggest curse because there is huge traffic on the road and you wouldn't want to be on a road. You just want to get on a train and get to the destination as quickly as possible. So in Mumbai you don't need to drive, honestly, in until and unless you want to go out for a long drive with your partner. That's a completely different thing, but I'm looking for a partner who can drive, so that's
So that you don't have to.
yeah.
So
So,
not you want a CFO for your household, you also want a chauffeur.
well, I don't want to say it out loud on the podcast, but you got me. Yeah.
The
So,
woman who can do everything.
yeah, she has to be like a supergirl. Anyways, let's just cut the topic over there. Annie, I really appreciate you sharing that as well because having those five jobs, it's really difficult. It's more than to hustle. You don't get breaks. You don't, and you have to rush around everywhere as well. So I'm pretty sure that it's difficult, and I can completely relate with that as well. So when you were doing these things, and I'm pretty sure now you are at a better place. You have been an author. So there are many people out there who are just starting off their career as well. Okay. And they might be in a situation where you were, right, then back then, and they are in that situation right now. And then there are other set of people as well, other people who are just getting started, and they sort of take things quite for granted, like they have everything, but they are like, it's fine and all these things. Okay. So what sort of advice do you have for these two completely different kinds of people?
I honestly would say my advice is the same. I think I did the right thing what I did back then because it was like the middle of nowhere. There was no opportunity. Fast food was the opportunity there was, you know. Um, my advice is the same. If you want to hustle and make money, a lot of the jobs these days are in the bigger cities. Also, thank God we have computer and internet these days, so people can work remotely, and a lot of employers are willing to hire people who are not living in cities because of the technology that's available today. That wasn't common even just, I think, 5, 6 years ago. It wasn't like socially accepted, right? Another thing is people need to really take the time in their early 20s to think about what they want to do for their career.
Right.
My sister, personally, she just graduated college this year. And then when I asked her the question, what do you want to do? Because she got a degree in English. We all learn to speak English. We all know how to read and write English, right? What are you
Right.
going to do with that kind of degree? You know, um, I'm not bashing the degree, but I just think people forget the importance of asking, what do you want to do with your life? Because that is really what should be guiding you for the rest of your career. Your career, if you really think about it, you let's say you started working at 18
Hmm.
or 22, right? People these days, they're working up until 70 years old. We're looking at 50 years. Like, what are you going to do to earn money for 50 years? And if you really want to leave a huge impact on people, you actually have to start thinking about it now, not when you're in your 40s and you're halfway through your career. So this advice applies to everyone in
Right.
that age group when they just finish school, whether things are taken care of by the parents or not.
Hmm.
It's something you have to answer. Otherwise, you won't feel fulfilled.
Wow, that's well said, Eddie, and I completely agree with that. Well, I do have one more advice though. I mean, this is something which is really a great conversation. So, audience, I have one more advice for you guys, and this I say in each and every episode. Make sure to sit with a book and a pen, okay? Because all the guests on this show share their wisdom, and I really don't want you to miss that out. You can listen to this podcast again if you if you miss something out, but I would really want you to intentionally listen to this podcast and write down the things which you feel are important for you. So make sure to do that. Going ahead in the show, Annie, we are also going to talk about mindset in this show, and mindset is something which is really, really important. So, but tell me like about this one incident which happened in your life. Like you asked an advice from your Indian friend, and then you got an advice that you have to finish your quota because later in the life you have to hustle more, right? And at that point of time, your body is not going to support you as well. So you know this is really interesting. So what happens is nowadays people will get a good job. Let's say they are at a very good position at the age of 24, 25, 26, right? And
Mhm.
at that point of time, when we have to think about saving money, and you have also written a book of 1001 ways to save money. Okay, so what is that mindset which made you first to save money for yourself, while you were earning $8, and then you went on and earning more and more dollars per hour by working at five different places. So the very first thing is, how did you got that mindset of saving money? Was there one incident, or was there multiple incident? And the second would be, how can people develop that mindset of saving money and investing as well?
I would have to say I wasn't always super interested in saving money. It's not sexy. I think earning money is far more sexy.
Wow.
Nobody, there's not much marketing and hype around saving money. It's like, hey guys, look, I just saved $1
Right.
versus like I can make $35,000 more. That's like, wow, I want that. With $35,000, you can buy a car. Um,
Right.
for me personally, what drove me is actually personal. I think it's more of a personality issue more than a motivation thing, because my parents, the way they raised me is like whenever I wanted something, for example, I wanted guitar lessons. Back then they cost $40 an hour. And my parents got me guitar lessons. But then all of a sudden, because of that, my parents would say things like, well, we got you guitar lessons for $40 an hour. And they'll repeat that over and over. $40 an hour we pay for those guitar lessons. It's a privilege that we never had growing up. Now you must be a good daughter. You must do what we want you to do.
Yeah.
And this is like they did this more than once throughout my childhood, and I didn't like that. I believe like if a parent's gonna give something to the kids, sure, we need to set boundaries with our kids, right, and raise them right, but to use that as like a leverage for like, therefore your decisions going forward should be this because we did something for you, so do this for us in return. I really didn't like that.
Hmm.
um so thinking about that, like I looked forward and I was like, if I'm 18 and
Hmm.
I don't save my money and I end up having to ask my parents for money because I'm struggling or something, my parents might in return say, well, because we gave you money and we supported you as an adult when you should be supporting yourself, then we want you to go to this specific school. We want you to go to this specific major. And coming out, we want you to work this specific job because we
Hmm.
supported you. And in return, that is what a good daughter should do. Like, I genuinely think that's how they would have reacted if I ever asked them for money because of how they raised me for 18 years. I mean, there's a track record there.
Right.
Um, so that motivated me. Even from my first job, I was like, I gotta save my money. I'm never gonna ask my parents for money. So even
Hmm.
after 18 years old, I never asked them for a Christmas gift, never got a birthday gift. Like, even if they wanted to give me something and they even asked me, well, what do you want as a gift? I said, I don't want any gift from you. No gift is fine. The other motivator was my guidance counselor.
Hmm.
When she heard that I wasn't going straight to college at 16, so every week for 1 hour, she sat me down in her office to convince me to go. And every time I just was more strong in my resolve, I said no. And she told me I would be a failure in life. Like, that was my destiny. You will always be a failure in life. So after 18 and working my first job at minimum wage, I always replayed what she said to me in my head. I replay those words and I said, I'm going to prove this woman wrong. So I wanted to
Hmm.
save money just for that. Uh, as for the second part of your question, I think people simply need to find that personal motivator, whatever it is. Like, me personally, my motivator is proving people wrong. Other people might be more out of love and joy, which is far better and healthier. Whether it's like you want to support your parents or you want to have your own family, that requires saving money and getting really good at it, right? So think about what is it that you really care about, and think about that every day and keep replaying it in your head over and over again.
Wow, that's wonderfully said. The two stories which I really like. But I mean, I have to say this, that I believe that Indian and Chinese parents are one and the same. I that's what I believed after this. That's the conclusion. But to be very honest, I mean, I had a pretty good parents for me. Although they did the same thing as your parents did, but I believe that was just out of care, and they once they know that I'm doing well in my life, they really appreciate me, and they really support me. So yeah, that's one thing which I just wanted to say. And apart from that, I believe the your personal motivator, right? That proving people wrong is your personal motivator. That's one of the best things, I guess.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I love that. And one of the guests who came on this show, her name was Ashley Braxton, and she said this amazing thing about breaking the chain of hate, and that is, if someone comes to you and says, you know what, you're not doing right. It's not right, and you have to make sure you do this to make it right. And in return, she just replies that, I'm happy with my life, with what I'm doing. Are you happy with your life? And then full stop. I'm like, that's the best reply you can give to anyone. I mean, you just have to tell them that you are happy with what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
So I feel that is one of the things which I just remembered after you said me that. So that's really amazing, and I really believe you are doing some great things in life. And first of all, 1001 ways of saving money. That is something which is really curious, kind of a statement. And I really have to ask you this, that if you would like to give just like 3 ways to save money for all the people out there, and of course after that they can buy your book as well.
First tip is to pay yourself first. So people think what you save is what you have after everything. No, the first thing you should do when you get your paycheck is you set aside 10% or more of it into a savings account, completely separate. I thought this was common sense, but it's not. Like, I remember teaching a class and I asked the students, what do you think pay yourself first means? And she's like, well, you work hard for your money, so you deserve it. You deserve to treat yourself first so you can go get a manicure because you deserve that, And I was like, no, guys, pay yourself first means pay your future self. Like, treat your future self like a utility bill that must be paid. Second thing is you have to make the budget. If you don't make a budget, then you're not going to stick to it. It's not enough to simply do like these mental gymnastics in your head. You actually need to write it down, like exactly how much money you make after taxes on a piece of paper. And then exactly how much every bill is, and then you'll see exactly how much you have left over. As for what's left over, that needs to be budgeted very, very clearly. Like, how much are you going to spend eating out? How much are you going to spend watching a movie? And plan all those out, especially like if you have a big event coming up in the future and it's not like something you can save for in just 1 month. You need to also break that out. That should actually be separate from that 10% minimum into your emergency savings. This something else that you're saving for is its own bucket that needs to be contributed to over time. So get a second savings account just for that, to make sure you have enough money for that goal you're trying to reach. Third thing is, I don't do it as much now because I'm more aware of my spending habits. I've been doing this for over 10 years, right? But initially, the way I got really good at it is I tracked my money religiously after every purchase. I carried around this tiny little notebook. People are more high tech these days. They have smartphones. They can keep track on their phone. But the simple act of like taking out your pen and little notebook after you've spent money, like at the grocery store, wherever you went, and writing it down, what you spent it on, you start to think twice immediately after the purchase. Was this really worth it?
Mm,
And
true.
just that act of like questioning yourself, man, will this really bring as much joy and fulfillment that I think it does bring? Because a lot of people, spending isn't just a math problem. They think that it will add more joy to their lives. Otherwise, what's the point?
Mm,
And when
hmm.
you keep asking yourself this question, pretty soon the purchases that are not worth it will drop off by their on their own. A lot of people have found this to work. Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty amazing, and I love it, to be very honest. And I can completely relate with it as well somehow, because I have done those exact things, and now I'm more curious to buy that book and read it out. Because I just want to see what are the other 998 ways which I have to make sure that I implement in my life as well. So that's wonderfully said, and I completely appreciate these three steps which you gave. So thank you so much for doing that. And it was really an amazing tip as well. The last one which you gave, that you always have to write it down and then, think about it, whether it's going to make you, bring you joy or not. And that is something which most of people needs to do, because most of the times people end up buying things and then they are just in some corner of their house, and they are not even using it, and that might have cost like really expensive, and but still they are using it now, because it was just a 1 day or 2 day joy, and for that 1 or 2 day joy they actually spent like, I don't know, maybe 50-60 dollars. But yeah, I mean, that's the amount which they might have spent for a 1 day joy,
Mm.
right? So I mean, I really appreciate you sharing that. However, now coming ahead, okay, and I'm really feeling this amazing conversation, and I really like the way you are answering as well, short, precise, and to the point. I love these kind of answers. So one question which I really want to ask is about, when you talk about money, when you talk about the career path, okay, and when you talk about long term goals as well. So there are people, after a certain 4 or 5 years of their job age, okay, they have been on the career and they have been working in it for like 5 or 6 years, and now they want to shift their career, okay, into something else which they feel that it's really really amazing, and they want to do that. And the thing is, like, in those 5 or 6 years they have worked really hard, they have picked their name up, and they are on the top of the schedule, but now they really want to switch their career. And during these times, it's really tough to switch as well. And that then at that point of time comes a mindset, right? That it's fine to switch because I know I can do it. Okay. And sometimes there is always a fear to switch a career as well. Transitioning is more difficult rather than thinking. So,
Really? I think
yeah,
it's actually exciting. I would view that
exactly.
with excitement,
No,
not
it
the
is
fear.
exciting. It is
Yeah.
exciting, but most of the people would have that mindset of transitioning as well.
Mm.
They would have that fear of transition, right? So, what would you like to say to them? That's my, real question, because they would be the ones who are in fear, that they really want to switch, but they are in fear that, no, I shouldn't do it because this is going good. Okay, what if I lose this as well and I don't achieve there anything? So what would you like to say to them?
If you feel already in your heart that you want to make this shift and it will bring you joy. I mean, otherwise, why would it have been planted in your heart? We all have different desires. There's a reason for that. I think we're more than just our physical bodies. We're also spiritual beings as well. And we're here with a calling, a certain purpose. So even if it's a really like small, subtle feeling that you feel like you have to do something, which is this shift into something different, you have to go with it, you know. Yeah, I think maybe people are scared, like what if it doesn't work out? Okay, well, if it doesn't work out, you can always go back to what you were doing. I mean,
Right.
there's no problem. You have your connections already. You can easily land another job in the same field you're already in, but you have to go take a shot, because if you do not change, then in my experience of watching how other people have lived their lives, you'll be forced to change.
Hmm.
Circumstances will force you to change, because the only constant in life is change. So unless you proactively choose to go after something new, you'll be forced to do something new instead, either
Yeah.
through a layoff or getting fired. I think honestly, you're not putting in your best work, because you know there's something that you need to do. You feel it in your heart. It's what your intuition is telling you. So with limited time, limited energy, are you really putting in your best work into your current field anyway? And I personally, when I think of something new that I'm doing, I look to it with like excitement, right? Even with the launch of the 5-day job search, I followed this intuition. Like I didn't just decide like I want to be a career coach. No, no, no. Like what happened was like one night I got this feeling like, oh, I got to write this next book. This is the next thing I got to do, you know. I've been doing accounting. That's my full-time job. I still do that as a full-time job. I have accounting clients for my side hustle as well. But one day I just felt this strong feeling. I have to do this. And if I don't do this, something wrong is going to happen. Like I feel like I have to contribute to help solve this problem. And then after I wrote this book, I was like, okay, well, now what do I do? I have to actually help people land new jobs in 5 days, right? So now I personally am in this transition myself of like doing accounting, but now I have to move into career coaching. Rather than being scared, yeah, I do feel scared. Like many times I actually question, like, you know, I have spent $20,000 of my own money creating this new book, marketing, promoting everything on this new book. Like I have spent the equivalent of a car on just launching and promoting this book. Like that's how much money I put into this. And the sales that I have gotten from the last 2 months have not made up for that, of course, right?
Of course.
So then I'm here questioning, like, was that the right decision to put that much money into this kind of project? Because I haven't sold that many yet, you know.
Hmm.
But I'm telling myself, like, no, you know, I'm gonna do whatever it takes,
Right.
because this is what I feel like I have to do, and I have to do that with joy and excitement. You know, I
Hmm.
honestly also feel like a big crash,
Hmm.
economic crash is going to happen. So get ready for that too. Yeah.
Wonderful. Wonderful. I really like the idea of sharing personal experience. I guess that's really something which people would more relate with, and I'm pretty sure that with your challenge which you take on daily basis, I think that's what makes us and makes people feel like more humans, like that's our job. We have to challenge ourselves as well, and we have to make sure that, what, I'm going to do this, okay. And like the advice which also I would like to give over here is that all you got to do is just start, at least give it a start. That's the very first thing. Okay, you don't have to quit your job on day one. Okay, you just have to make sure to get a start. And I feel that's really important to,
Yeah.
just test it out, like what are you good enough or not. And I'm pretty sure
Like,
once
don't
you have that
overthink it.
feeling. Exactly, right.
Yeah,
And
people are overthinking it. Just do
exactly.
it.
Exactly, right. And people, you can, like, you heard the personal story of Annie over here, and I'm pretty sure she has a lot in her pocket as well, like whole lot of stories. And I would really invite her for the second episode so that she can share her story of publishing a book as well. And also, what you can do is you can listen to my story about this podcast. When I started in 2020, I started with a 20 rupee earphone, which I get in a local train of Mumbai. Okay. And currently, I have a really good setup. So I'm pretty sure you will get a lot of motivation to start something new when you are switching your career. and you need to have that mindset of giving a shot, giving all you got. And still, if it doesn't work out, it's not meant for you. But I'm pretty sure when you have a feeling of something that you know you want to switch, and because the feeling is coming because you are really good at it, so just make sure to follow your inner thought, your inner voice, and I'm pretty sure you're going to be successful, and all the best for that. However, Annie, I really appreciate you being on this show. I have this one last question, I promise, and that would be, if I want to compare any Margarita Yang 5 years before and now, what would be the difference between the Annie Margarita Yang, which was 5 years back, and Annie Margarita Yang today?
I'm a lot more confident. I didn't have this level of confidence that I had 5 years ago. Something I talk about in the book itself is the difference between courage and confidence. So, 5 years ago, I had already learned public speaking around 8 years ago. So, I got good at learning how to speak and how to present myself, how to use my voice in a way that had more authority. But just because I can use these mimic what confidence looks like doesn't actually mean like deep down inside I have confidence just because I portray it. That's something else. And people would always go like, "Oh, Annie, you're so confident. Like you can just get up and talk to people." No, no. Even back then, I would call courage. So I'm scared out of my mind. It's my first time doing things. I have no idea what I'm doing. 5 years ago, 23 years old. What does a 23-year-old know? Coming out of school, working 5 years ago was when I was working at Domino's Pizza, by the way, and landing that first accounting job with no accounting degree. So that took guts, all right. So 5 years ago, I was like, I have nothing to lose. I'm just gonna apply and give it my all. I don't care what people say because they don't pay my bills.
Yeah,
I pay my bills. They're not thinking about me at night. This is my life. People are not gonna remember what I did or what I said. So I'm just gonna go for it. So it was courage. Courage doesn't feel good. I kind of realized when you think of the feeling of courage, you feel scared. Your shoulders tighten up, your chest, something like heavy here, right? And we think like people with courage, we think of heroes. We think they're so different, and that while they're doing something scary, they must be all like, yeah, like they don't feel these things. No, courage feels terrible. And you have to like honestly just keep going over and over and over again into doing something that you're uncomfortable with until one day it turns into confidence. Because confidence stems from knowing you're good at something, but not just that. You know for a fact you're good at it because you have a track record of actually like proof that you're good at it. Like other people say you're good at it. You do it like it's second nature. But confidence doesn't come until like so much later. So I would say, yeah, the difference between now and 5 years ago is 5 years ago, courage. Today, confidence.
Wow, that's wonderfully said. Thank you so much for that amazing answer you gave over there, and I'm pretty sure I can relate with that as well. I feel we have a very similar story.
I think so.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to have you for the second episode as well. And I hope that you wouldn't say no to it because you are already booked for 60, different podcasts. But I should have that first preference. That's what I believe. However, just kidding. Don't worry about it. Don't would be too precious about it. But yeah, I would still expect. Anyways, with that being said, any lasting words which you have for the audience, which you want to give from the bottom of your heart?
Yeah, because today we are supposed to touch on mindset. I really want to leave people with this tip that helped me get through all these years, which is every time I was scared about something new that I was doing, I would repeat over and over again, I can do it. Like the moment I catch myself like spiraling into like, oh my God, I don't think I can do it. I would just go like, I can do it. I can do it. I can do it. I literally like hang pieces of paper all over my house with something similar. Like I can do marketing or like I can land a job paying this much. I remember I wanted to buy a house and I needed to make at least $70,000 to qualify for a mortgage. So I wrote on a piece of paper that I hung to the wall that said, I have what it takes to earn a $70,000 salary. And this is no accounting degree, right? And then during that at that time, that was a 5-day job search. That was the last one. I had a recruiter calling me to fish me out and ask me how much I wanted to make. And because he's just a recruiter, he's not the actual hiring manager. I said, I want to make 70,000. I got to buy a house. So this is my number. I'm not settling for anything less because this is my future. It's my finances. I got to make it work. And then he goes, I've been in the industry for 10 years. I've been hiring accountants. You don't have an accounting degree and it's not on your resume. Based on my 10 years of experience hiring, you're not capable of making more than $55,000. Honestly, maybe $60,000 if you're lucky, if like somebody wants to pay you even that much. And I was like, great, thanks. Bye. And
Wow.
I was like, thanks for your opinion, but I'm gonna make $70,000. Like that's what I put on my wall. Usually when I put something on my wall, it comes true because I look at it every day and make it happen. So 2 days later, I got the $80,000 job offer. Yeah. And I went back to that guy. I said, you thought I couldn't do it. I mean, look at this. No accounting degree. I make $80,000. Like, I don't believe what people tell me. I just keep telling myself, I can do it. I can do it.
And you
Don't let
also
it get
have
you down.
and you also have the motivator to prove people wrong. So I guess
Yeah,
that even helped out
yeah.
as well, I guess.
No doubt. Like that personality thing came in. The moment he said you can't do it, my immediate response is like, oh yeah, watch me.
Of course. Well, that's wonderfully said, and I completely appreciate you sharing that. And Annie, this has been a great show, but every good show has to end somewhere. So, one last question: if people wants to get connected with you, and if people wants to search you on internet, how can they get in touch with you?
All right. First things first, that special offer I was talking about in the beginning,
Yeah.
10% off discount on a signed paperback copy of the 5-day job search. You can go on annieyangfinancial.com, add the book to your shopping cart, and upon checkout, use the coupon code personality. PERSONALITY. And as for where you can find me on social media, mainly I'm on YouTube. You can search on YouTube Annie Margarita Yang. I should be the one that shows up first. And just last week, I made a TikTok. So I'll be hanging out on TikTok. Username is Annie Yang Financial.
Well, that's wonderfully said. That congratulations on your first TikTok, but I'm pretty sure Indians are not going to see that because TikTok is banned in India. Yeah. So apart from that, it has been a great episode, and I feel most of the people have got some great wisdom from you, and I really believe that you are going to be a great individual in the future. You are already great now, but I really believe that you have many more heights to touch. So congratulations on that. And with that being said, audience, if you feel that this episode and this podcast adds value in your life, then make sure to share it with your loved ones, and make sure to share the coupon as well of personality to get 10% off on the paperback of this amazing book. So you have all the things in your pocket. Make sure to give it to someone else as well, and this is the money which is not going to instinct because you are just sharing knowledge. So make sure to just do that. And with that being said, thank you so much for listening to this episode. This is Aditya Mehta along with Annie Margarita Yang signing off from this episode. See you in the next one. Till then, peace out.